it big. I got my eyes on the prize. Oh my, gonna spin the wheel, cash it in and roll the dice. Oh my, it's a thing of gold. All I do is win, all I do is win. Oh my, no one ever fold. Start it up, let the game begin. Way up high and take it low. I'm feeling right from head to toe. Line it up and let it roll. Here I go. Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, are you ready? Ready or not, keep going. And I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for me? Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for me? Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, are you ready? Ready or not, keep going. And I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Are you ready?
You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow, to follow. All the people wanna go with desire, like the streaming with the fish in the ocean. Stay away, never come under fire. They will never ever show an emotion. I never dreamed of getting in the action. Life moves with all the surprises. I never dealt with chemical reaction. It comes down to this day. You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow, to follow. All the people wanna get in the circus, trying hard to keeping up with the Joneses. Everything is kind of trouble and purpose, and you're lying in a bed of roses. I never dreamed of getting in the action. Life moves with all the surprises. I never dealt with chemical reaction. It comes down to this day. You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be a
Yo, what's up, everyone?
Yo, good morning.
Oh, that was a soft yo. What's up with that, Kasper?
Yeah. Happy King's Day, everyone.
Happy King's Day.
Today is the King's birthday in the Netherlands. Everyone is wearing orange. And
Very
we're
nice.
going out partying.
See, and I thought you were just a Longhorns fan. That's my sports reference for the stream.
I was going to say, who are you?
Oh, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Saturday, another live stream with no Patrick. But don't be afraid. Patrick will return. He's just traveling a lot. So, but he's not gone. Like, he's still around. He's just traveling. He's actually on vacation this weekend. But thanks y'all for being here with us. Hope your Saturday's going well. Let us know in the chat how it's going. And I'm very happy today to have Kasper de Jonge on with me today.
Good to be here.
Thank you, Kasper, for joining. So Kasper is on the Fabric Cat team at Microsoft. And Kasper, tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know who you are.
Yeah, so as Adam said, I'm also on the Fabric Cat team, just like Adam and a bunch of others in the team. There's lots of colleagues in the chat. I see Matthew is there, many others.
Scott's out there.
So Scott's out there, yeah. I'm expecting probably a few more always to show up on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's always nice. Yeah, I've been at Microsoft for quite a long time, actually, already. I think I'm going up to 15 years. So
wow, that's a long time.
Time flies. Actually,
that's a long time.
Probably I was thinking about it. This is probably the company I've stayed with longest so far.
Yeah, it's definitely the same for me. So
yeah,
it's crazy how it goes by so fast. So
yeah, and Adam, thank you for sharing the link. I'm also dabbling in podcasting and YouTubing, but not that consistent. Even though it's actually pretty nice because I went to some conferences and people came up and said, "Oh, I like you podcast," and it's a bit of a different format, right? It's like an hour long talking with someone about a topic. Actually, I see Matthew in the chat. Matthew, I have some ideas to get you on, but we'll talk later.
Kasper's people will call your people Matthew, and they'll set up a meeting.
Yes.
So, yes. So definitely go check it out. I've got all of Kasper's links down in the description of the live stream, so go check it out. So again, Kasper, thanks for joining. It's great. And then
always good to talk about Fabric.
Yeah, all the Fabric things. Although Alex said that Power Pivot questions only today. So
yeah, I love that.
It'll be a short stream. That's fine.
What do you mean? Short stream. There's so much to Power Pivot.
Yeah. All right. So if you are new to the live stream or GuineCube in general, put #new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces and just want to welcome you here. And then also shout out to the members of GuineCube. You help us do what we do here on the stream, so very much appreciate y'all. If you see folks with a green name or the GuineCube logo next to their name, those are members of the stream. So thank you so much for doing that. If you want to learn more, check out the link on the screen or hit the join button down below to learn more. No commitment required. Just a big thank you for checking it out. And then, So let's see here. Let's see who's new. Let's see who is new. So William is new. William, thanks for being here. John, I hope that's right, is new. Duncan is new, but a longtime supporter, GuineCube. Amazing. Thank you for being here. Happy to have you here. It's your first time. It's amazing. All three of you. It's great. Adam is old. Yeah. I'm old too. So does that mean all Adams are old? I don't know. All right. Who else? Yours? So Patrick, Kevin Patrick is out on vacation. He will be back. Rumor has it he'll be on the stream on the, on the 18th. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath, but so far that's his plan. All right. So that's all the new folks that I see today. So thank you so much for being here. Get your questions in. We have rules here on the channel. First rule is Q colon in front of the question. Chatmaster C is not in the stream today. She dropped off already. She's at a horse lesson with my daughter, so I am in charge of the queue. Nothing can go wrong. Actually, there's some that are queued or that are here, so I need to queue those. But get your questions in. The queue is light right now. Now is the right time to submit the questions. Second rule, please do not spam the chat. One time is all you need, and I will see it. I've got a whole screen here just looking specifically for Q colon. So if you don't put Q colon, I'm not going to see it on the other screen. I'm not going to queue it up. That's how it goes. Don't spam the chat though. One time's all you need, and I'll get to it. Or someone will yell at me in the chat that it's already there. So it's fine. If you do spam the chat, we have a 3 strikes rule here on Guy in a Cube. So after the 3rd strike, someone's going to put you in a timeout. It's probably going to be Matthew, more than likely. Kasper has that power too, but I doubt he's going to do it while he's on the stream. And then also members, please hold your questions until the second half. I'll let you know when to do it. And then we'll go to the member only section as part of that. If you do have a burning question, whether you're a member or not a member, super chats always take priority in the queue. So that'll be the next question up, or anytime during the stream, super chats will always do it. If you do the super chat, make sure you type in the question before you hit the button. Otherwise, you're just doing a regular super chat, which I very much appreciate it, but you missed your chance. Or you can do it again. I don't know. All right, so let's see here. See, look at that. Gord following the instructions. I love it. Putting that Q colon in front. We got it queued up. There you go. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. So earlier also, as an example, Scott put a question in the queue, but he's a member, and he didn't follow the 3rd rule. And so that question is not queued up at this time, and he'll have to resubmit it, even though Kasper answered it in the chat. So. But that's
what I was going to say, yeah. I saw some other questions. I was like dying to dive in and start answering.
All right. Well, let's do it, Kasper.
Otherwise, you're going to kick me off. So.
That's fine. Also, Kasper, if there is a question that you see that you really want to answer, let me know. We'll go to that one next, even though it's not like in order or whatever. So you can control that. You have that power.
Pivot questions.
Any power pivot questions. All right. So Kasper's going to jump to power pivot questions if they come in. All right. On to the queue. Oh, and Gaston's here. Hello, Gaston. I didn't see you in the chat, but it sounds like you're here because Matthew said hi. All right, first question. Data is king. How would you persuade the government into investing in Fabric? And for just perspective, data is king is in the US. But I think in general, around the world, I think that's always a challenge. So Kasper, what do you think?
Well, this is a really good question, and we can probably fill the hour with it. Just talking about this one. Right. But I think the majority of the things that we're seeing is like the biggest benefit that I think we'll have with Fabric is the ease of adoption. Like it's so easy to get started. You don't have to spin up clusters. You don't have to configure networks. You don't have to all of these things. That is also probably the big downside for the government, because in my experience, like when you talk about financial system, healthcare systems, all of these things, they want a lot of control. And this is the fight. Actually, this is also a good opportunity for Matthew to post in the link to his deployment white paper on, like, because that's a discussion that you need to have. Okay, so Fabric is lower barrier to entry. It's easy to get started. It's easy to get going, but you need to help them. You need your employees and the people working in your organization help them make sense of the data and help them make more use out of the things that are available for them. So I think it's not, it's probably more of a, how should I say it, discussion around and understanding the SaaS nature of Fabric than technical challenges. Yeah, it's SaaSified. And it's tough because we have, like, especially with those kinds of organizations who first had their own data centers and then maybe slowly started changing to manage like VMs or MI or things like this. And now you have SaaS where you have less control. And you have to start trusting other people doing the stuff that you usually would do yourself. So,
yeah, that's tough. So, and I like Leslie's in the chat. She works for within the U.S. government bubble. We always have good conversations around the GCC implementations of things, and so she said it's a difficult conversation to have when we don't have timelines around Fabric availability in the various gov clouds. It's more of a theoretical conversation, and how do we prepare for it? On that front too, Kasper, do you think, like, even though, like, yes, there are some Fabric challenges on the government cloud, it's still good if you want to prep for that. If you don't have Power BI in play yet, then, you know, push on that first, and then that sets you up for Fabric.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's really an extension of where we are with Power BI, and I mean, David is putting some conversations down about security and stuff. Like, again, there's a use. If you go to the Fabric security overview page on the doc side, again, this is a discussion that we're having with a lot of customers because it's a SaaS platform. It's different. Like, always the example that I give is when someone comes in and says, "Oh, but I want," like, when they're in a PaaS world, you have to take care of everything yourself. So if you want to make sure that your ADLS is secured and not automatically connected to the public internet, you have to spin up all kinds of things, and you have to put them behind firewalls, and you have to put them in your own private VNets. While in Fabric, that's not the way it works, because you connect to Fabric, we authenticate you always with Entra, through Entra, and then the next step is we redirect you internally to our own backend system, which in this case, for example, OneLake, and that backend system is in a private network. But we do it, you don't do it. But that's a really, like, people have been doing it other ways 15 years. But this is the benefits of SaaS, and this is why people come to Fabric, because they say, hey, I don't want to be an integrator, I want to work on data, not on networking. So yeah. It is, and it's actually also really interesting to see how it is different by country, because I see a lot of discussions in Europe where, for example, if you come to the Netherlands, it's much more straightforward to have a discussion about cloud and Fabric than it is in Germany. So it's really interesting to see. It's more of a mindset change, and what are you okay with? Because even when you don't use the cloud, as long as you have an internet connection. So it's always the question, like, do you trust your own firewall more than you trust Microsoft's firewall?
Yeah.
Because that's what the question is in the end. And our firewall is being tested every day by billions and billions of people trying to connect and hack and do stuff. And we have thousands of people defending Microsoft in general.
Yeah. So another thing that I always find interesting too, and I this is more on the commercial side than the government side, but like on the government side, like I also look at, like, what are they doing with Excel files? Like, because chances are they're probably using OneDrive. That's in the cloud.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting pivot point for some folks.
I mean, it's not easy. You know, it's not easy. So it's a tough discussion, and I'm actually having a lot of those discussions today. Today too. Yeah, SharePoint, Office, and there are so many people who are using, like, all your customer data is in Salesforce.
Yeah. Like,
Salesforce is SaaS.
Yep.
Or Dynamics, obviously, but I'm just giving an example that it's not Microsoft. It's you're gonna have to do the same discussion there, and then they say, well, it's not a problem there. So it's an interesting discussion, and it's going to take some time to have those discussions. Hopefully those things will help you. We're also working on an amazing white paper that's going to come out soon. It's mostly having the same content as we'll have in the security overview page in there, but also all nicely bundled into one big PDF.
And more info. More info, right?
Well, it's about the same, but it has a lot of stuff bundled together. Right now, it's always the same, right? If you go to the docs, you see one part of the documentation, but you don't know. We are trying to change that a little bit, but you see everything in one doc, but you don't know. This also relates to security, and especially when you start talking about the Microsoft security, and one of the things like this, like, many people don't know we have MIP labels.
Oh
for
yeah.
example.
Yeah. I'm always surprised.
And it's such an amazing feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just
it's such an amazing feature, you know,
what's interesting on the MIP labels is like, because I don't think they think about it, and like the minute we bring it up, and then like when I've explained, I'm like, hey, do you know in Excel when you see like highly confidential or confidential? It's like, yeah. I'm like, that's the MIP label. And they're like, oh, okay, now I know what it is. And so it's weird. Like I think there's like just an education thing there. So yeah, there you go, Carrie. Yeah, MIP labels. What are those?
yeah, I mean, the example I always give is like, as you said, if you already have it in Outlook or in Excel, PowerPoint, you always get those labels that you can do. If that's the case, then you can also add them to Power BI. You just need to ask the right people in your organization. And then the other thing, interesting part of it is like, one of the examples that I always give is like, let's say you have a Power BI desktop file, right? And you loading data in, and you're doing DAX calculations, all of these things, and then you want to take it home, you put it on the USB stick, and then you forget it on the train or whatever, public transport. Someone can take that and done.
Yeah.
So, but that's yeah, okay. But now when you have MIP labels applied to it, which you can mandate, so you can, every Power BI user needs to have MIP labels applied to it. Someone takes it, he opens it, puts it in his own laptop, he won't be able to see the data. Your CFO will be so happy with that.
So happy.
But yeah, so happy. He can sleep at night, you know. He doesn't have to worry about these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you haven't.
Yeah.
So David is...
So Kevin said they're really dancing around. It depends on this discussion, and sure, Kevin, it depends on the government. Okay, but by the way, also there is no dancing. This is Texas, so there's a swagger. It's not a dance. So anyway, all right.
If I would have him fired if he thought about putting on a USB drive. It always happens.
And
maybe not you, Adam, but
I don't know. And Kasper wasn't kidding about like we can take the whole stream with this question. So
yes.
All right, let's move on to the next one. William, new to the live stream. Will there be egress shares? He meant charges. When using shortcuts across region, for example, if a workspace is backed by capacity in US East and data is consumed by a workspace backed by capacity in US West. Ooh, that's a different. That's actually different.
I would think the answer is yes. The answer is yes. If you have data, if you have an ADLS account sitting in a different region than your
That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. He's saying capacity to capacity within inside of the Fabric bubble. So I would think no in that scenario.
So
because it's all in one lake.
If you have an ADLS
it's all in one lake. Yeah.
sitting outside to a capacity sitting in a different region, and you connect them, then there is egress.
Yes.
If you have a capacity in the same region as your ADLS, and then you do a shortcut,
yes,
then it doesn't cost anything.
Yep. So if everything's inside of Fabric, everything's in one lake, and you're doing a shortcut within Fabric, within your tenant, even though they're in different data regions, there shouldn't be an egress charge. It's when you cross. It's really, and the egress itself is not on Fabric. It's on the Azure resource or the AWS resource or the Google resource. That's where you're getting egress. It's not Fabric.
Actually, I know I'm not going to let it go to security topic, but this is a good example of what happens. Because one of the things that we do is that the data that is being transferred between capacities or between workspaces is going over the Microsoft internal backbone.
Yes.
Which is also more secure than the public internet.
Yes.
Egress charges are only for the public internet, not internal. Yeah.
Well, so in that scenario of a capacity in US East going to an ADLS storage account in US West, that still goes over the Microsoft backbone, but you're going to get egress, isn't it?
Yeah, but the way that we talk about public internet is also interesting. But
yeah, okay. So I'm like, the way you describe it, like, that's not true.
Yeah.
So
now I'm going to throw the depend cards, okay?
Yeah. There you go. But even in that scenario, yes, you'll get an egress charge because you're crossing the data center boundary. but the transmission of that data is still more secure because it is going over Microsoft's backbone. So that is not being routed over the public internet. So that is absolutely more secure. But yeah, you cross the data center boundary on an Azure resource. So that's where you're getting egress, not on Fabric. And we had those conversations on the Power BI side too, like with gateways and everything else. It's like, look, it's egress is on the Azure or the AWS or the Google Cloud side. It's not from Power BI or Fabric.
You will never get a bill from Fabric team with egress.
Yeah.
You will always get it from something else.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next one. Let's see here. In Fabric, when will I get a richer feature of semantic model creation like I get from a desktop Power BI, such as hierarchies, groups, calculated columns? Some of that you have today. So you can do modeling in the web.
Yeah.
You can do calculated columns.
You can do calculated columns. Yeah. And I think calculation groups.
Yeah.
Is it there?
I think so. In the cloud, yeah.
Uh-huh.
For like imported or direct query, not for direct link.
Yet.
Well, so the calculation groups, you can do that for direct link, but not calculated columns. So, but you can also do all of that from Tabular Editor or something like that too.
But you can never do calculated columns directly. So.
Yeah. Well, never say never. If that is something you really would like, go to ideas.fabric.microsoft.com and let your voice be heard. And you never know. Gaston, Fabric is an Azure resource. Yes, but it's in the Fabric bubble, so you're not going to get that egress charge. But yeah, so the semantic model would be interesting on that question. So I know you say hierarchies, groups, calculated column. Some of this is a journey too. So they're constantly improving the web experience for modeling. So Zoe Douglas is very much looking at that. There's others on Christian Wade's team that are working on that. So yeah, keep the feedback coming, and they're going to continue to improve that experience. That's been a long journey too of getting Power BI desktop parity from a web experience. I know a lot of Mac users have been itching for that for a long time. So, yep. All right. So Matthew had a question for you, Kasper. Is it true that you can only be king if you're born on April 27th?
Change the date. So the previous Queen's Day was on April 30th.
Yeah. So that was actually one thing I asked Kasper before we went to the countdown. I was just like, is it always like on a Saturday? Or he's like, no, it moves around. So
actually, it would be better if it's not on a Saturday, because you actually get a day off
holiday.
Today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No day off today. Well, automatic day.
I mean, you have a day off today, I hope. Don't work today. Gord.
You better have holiday.
Do what?
I have a week off.
Yeah. You're gonna go sit on the beach. That's nice.
Exactly.
Gord, hello. Have an issue with new Power Query in Report Builder. That just went into public preview recently. After building my Power Query and report, when I render the report, I get a message, Power Query is not supported. Any idea? Ooh. What do you think, Kasper? Yeah, where's Alex?
I have no clue.
So I will say,
I
have a question, Gord. Are you publishing that to Power BI report server on premises where that is not supported? Or are you publishing it to the service? And then as Alex is pointing out too, what's the data source? There are limitations. So that may be something too. So check the docs and see what all the limits are. So Jessica's saying it's likely a gateway issue. Maybe. I don't know what the source is. The error message mentions, hang on. That's right. I forgot. Matthew did tee up, get the question in. Hang on. Let's see. The error. There we did. He added it. So the error is connection using a Power BI gateway are not supported. So there you go. There you go.
To
Error
Alex's
says it
point,
all.
there are limitations, so this is one of them.
Yeah, the error says it all, right? So if you do want, obviously you want a gateway to be in play for this. So I'm sure the team is working on that. But go to ideas.fabric.microsoft.com and get that feedback in. But I'm sure they're working on that. At some point it will come. That's my assumption, my guess. That's not official.
So amazing paginated reports, It's like
I know.
It's my first BI project were paginated reports, and we're still talking about it today.
Yes,
And it's
amazing.
still here, and makes still a ton of sense to keep using it.
Yes, always. Although there's a lot of cases where people don't use it, and they should. And Alex said, "Can we take a moment to recognize that Power Query and paginated are freaking awesome?" And it took forever for this to happen. I remember that we've been talking about that for a long time, and finally it's here.
Yes.
I love it. It's a little, I will say, it's a little wonky. Like there's some things you got to get. It's always because it's the last query that's in Power Query that's the one that it uses. So that takes a little.
I remember
shift
SQL Server 2016. We already had this discussion.
Yeah, no, I know. It goes back way long time. So, yep. All right. Thank you, Alex, for dropping the link. Let's see. Where are we doing on time? Oh, we got 4 minutes. All right, Duncan. Let's see here. Exploring Power BI semantic model integration across 2 teams. Okay. We have interconnected elements and agreement on key points, seeking advice on feasibility considerations and useful resources. Okay.
It's a very broad question.
Yeah, it's very broad.
I mean, there's a few things here that I can think about. Like, for example, one of the things that you want to do is, like, we had this amazing feature in multidimensional a long time ago where you can share dimensions, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, if you have some shared resource across your organization and you want to share resource with multidimensional, you can actually share them between models. That was really cool. So you build one dimension in any way you want it, and then anyone can use it in your organization. We don't really have that with Tabular, although now with Fabric and Direct Lake, with shortcuts, you can get really close. So you can make a table somewhere where you all define on here's what the table should look like. This is the data. It should always be up to date. And then you just shortcut it into your new project with Direct Lake. And then the table just shows up. And then you maybe do it like in 4 other projects. You define it once, you update it once, and then automatically it gets showing up there. So that's one thing. And the other thing is probably if you really want to like do a lot of these things together, you have to be thinking about code and stuff.
Yeah.
So like deploying measures across, and you can automate that now thanks to all the new, what is it called? Not TMDL, TMDL.
Timdal. Yeah, Timdal.
With the Timdal stuff, you can actually do a lot of the automations with it. So
yeah. See, Donald's right there with you. We can copy paste.
Yeah. That helps. Or you can even automate it. You can write some app that says, hey, I want to have measures that I've built up somewhere and I want to use them in my model. Go ahead and reuse it.
Yep. So the other thing, Donald, I'd ask is like, what are your goals? So I'm like, if you're sharing a data set between 2 different teams and you've got agreement, like, what do you want to do with it? Like, what are the business problems you're trying to solve with it? And sometimes that helps guide you on how to approach the model and or the maintenance of the model. At some point, like someone's got to be an owner of it. And then like as Kasper's talking about it, you could have multiple contributors potentially. Go the GitHub route or Azure DevOps route. Sorry. Yeah. So, but it'd be good to explore that a little more. All right. Sahil. What is the major difference between Azure Synapse Analytics versus Fabric? If we're not using any other data storage platform apart from what's provided by Microsoft. Ooh. What's different? Like why? Like
I think probably the main difference is the whole one copy that we have in Fabric. So you can put your data into Lake once, and then you can put any compute on top of it, including Power BI, which is not part of Azure Synapse Analytics. So you won't be able to do direct Lake on top of data file sitting in the Lake. And then the second biggest thing is SaaS versus PaaS. That's really a big difference too. Like in Fabric Synapse, you have to take care of your own networking, you have to spin up clusters, you have to do a lot of things. So it's, you have to integrate. And with Fabric, it's a bit quicker. Like you just go and start. So, and of course, there's more. Like exactly to Alex's point, the blog by Bogdan is, it is actually a different product. It's similar, but it's built up from scratch. Although many parts are borrowed from Azure Synapse, it's not the same engine.
Well, they're still using Polaris as part of it. But they retooled
so they're using
a lot,
parts, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah. I will also say from a performance standpoint, they're really pushing on perf on Fabric Warehouse. I have regular chats with Connor Cunningham, and he's like they're pushing hard. So performance is absolutely going to be a big difference between the two. So unless you don't care about performance, and then So yeah. All right. We are at the halfway mark. Members, go ahead and get your questions in. I cleared the queue. There were a couple questions left, so sorry we didn't get to them. We're going to go into member-only chat. So if it was a burning question, go ahead and use a super chat to get it in. But members, we can go ahead and now get it going. So I'm just adding a couple of those to the queue. If you want to learn more about being a member, remember to go check out the join button down below to learn more. I'm also dropping the link, assuming the chatbot works, back in the chat where you can learn more as well. No commitment required, just big thank you if you do it. And I also saw, where was it? And I didn't call it out. So Donald, thank you or Duncan, sorry, not Donald. Duncan, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. So let me go ahead and cut over to member only chat. And we will get this party started. All right, we are officially in member only chat, and we got questions coming in. Let's see here. Add. This is why Patrick doesn't like when I have to manage the queue, because I gotta do all of it. All right, user 457, picking up your question before the break. Never created a paginated report before, but have a perfect use case. Any tips, advice, videos I should go look at? Guy in a Cube videos?
I don't know.
Of course, Guy in a Cube. I mean, look, paginated reports have been around for a long time with reporting services, so there's tons of content. I don't have. Are you looking for Paul Turley's book?
Yeah,
I think it's in my closet. Paul Turley has it's an older book, but it checks out. It's reporting services like recipes that he did with. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Who do you write it with?
it's so long.
Robert. What's Robert's last name? Oh, I'm
Bruckner?
blanking. Do what? Yeah, Bruckner. Yeah. So he wrote it with Bruckner. Yeah. So that was an old book, but it's still good. So go check that out. What else do you think? Anything else?
I mean, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much content. There's so many blog posts. There are so many things out there. Yeah, black and white books that are still great.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but there's videos out there like Laura Graham Brown, I think, has done some stuff on it. Johnny Winters
I have
done some
blog
stuff
posts on my blog from
Casper's got stuff that's
2008
out
or
there.
something.
There's tons of content. So the key is, like, if you're looking for like Power BI paginated, it's not going to hit everything. So search for reporting services and you'll find a ton more. And all that stuff is still relevant from a paginated perspective. So there are nuances some differences between the two. So like you can't do a shared data set, you can't do the shared connection, and so it's in the context of a single RDL file. But in terms of what to do in the RDL, like that stuff is still good. So yeah, definitely go check that out. All right. Yeah. Okay. Isaac, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. Love it. Were there any? Yeah, Donald had one. Okay, cool. So Duncan saying follow-up question. The two Power BI semantic models, how do you connect them? Well, you get a string and tie it to one and then go get it on the other one.
I mean, there's a question if this is what you want to do or not, because when you have a pure semantic model and you do a report on top, the performance will be better than when you start tying things together. In general, it doesn't have to be this way, but this is the same problem when you have direct query or you want to do things where you are combining table from over here to a table over there. Like, how do you combine them? You cannot do an inner join, for example. So now you have to pull in all the data on one side, do the join and connectivity, and then make sense of the data.
Yeah,
and it can be very, very painful. But
yep.
it in many scenarios it can also work. So it really depends on your use case. But composite models is the answer for it. And otherwise, I would say like a direct lake is also a good way to start doing this, although you cannot tie everything together.
Yeah.
Like you cannot share measures across. You can only share the tables itself across, which is potentially also a downside.
Yeah. Yeah. So the technical feature, Duncan, that you want to go look at is composite models. And so I dropped a link in the chat to that. There are a ton of limitations when you do that, though, so be very careful. And I think Phil Seamark's done some stuff too about like some of the problems you can get into from a performance perspective. Patrick's done a couple videos as well talking about some of that. So, and then Marco and Alberto over on SQL BI have talked about like the challenges with many-to-many relationships and like what can happen on that front. So, yes, so be careful, but you can technically do it.
Yeah.
All right, Leslie. If Azure DevOps is in your internal tenant and you have an external tenant that does not have Azure DevOps, will we be able to ultimately use CI/CD as designed using Azure DevOps from the internal tenant? I'm going to assume, Leslie, you mean inside of Fabric, right? Because I have no idea with Azure DevOps outside of Fabric. What do you think, Kasper?
I think the main problem that you will have is that you will have to, like, I don't think it will work because you have to authenticate somehow.
Well, what's interesting though is from a Fabric perspective. So guest users work with that. I have to try it. I haven't tried it on specifically like the ADO integration from a Git piece of this. It'd be interesting to see how that shows up because it's technically a user represented in the directory. So,
well, but the guest accounts, like Peter is also saying, guest accounts in Entra.
Yeah.
Entra it will probably work in Entra, but it probably won't work in Fabric because
I'm going to try it.
Additional work.
I'm going to try. I can't do it right now. I don't have it set up, but I'm going to try it. Let's see if it works. That'll be interesting. So she was saying, for CI/CD and Power BI, we were told from a Microsoft employee that cross-tenant functionality was not there. That may be true specifically from the source control feature of it. I haven't tried it, so So I'm gonna try. I'll let you know. It's interesting. Yeah, I agree. Authentication is not the issue. Comments. Yeah. Sorry. Say that again, Kasper.
I see more comments in the chat of people saying it's not.
Yeah. But yeah, auth isn't the issue. Like the auth will work for a guest user. It's the question of whether the source control integration, will that work between Fabric and ADO with a guest user? That's the question. And I don't know. I've got to try it. So I will try it, Leslie. I will let you know. Cool. All right. That's a good one. Christian, any recommendations where I could read more about all URL parameters that are supported by Power BI service when embedding through a simple URL? Filter, pane enabled, page name, page view. Yeah. Do you know, Kasper?
The only place I can think of is either the documentation, like Microsoft, the Fabric or Power BI embedded documentation in this case, or Ted's blog posts and sites that he has created.
Ted Pattison. Yeah.
Ted Pattison. I forgot the name of the website.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, can you maybe find his website or YouTube's? And I know he's dropped a lot of YouTube videos on the Power BI YouTube channel. He's done a lot of developer lunch hour type things. But yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. I will tell you right now, Christian, I know for a fact they're not all documented. Because there's a couple that I've used in the past that are just not documented. But the main ones are, so passing in the filter expressions and whatnot. I will also say the ones that are not documented, even though some of them work, they're not documented for a reason. So be careful with those if you do discover what they are, because they're not going to technically be supported. So just be careful with that.
It might stop working.
Yeah, they can always change it
tomorrow.
So, but the documentation should list out the main ones.
So Scott
Thanks,
just
Scott.
Send out ads. Yep.
It's the new Hey Alex. Yep. So, cool. All right. Moving on. Toma. Mirrored DB and Fabric. How frequently it hits the gateway to detect changes? I don't know if you played around with it at all, Kasper. And I don't know if the docs actually call out the sync timings on it. I know when I've used it and when I went through it for the Fabric conference keynote, I have to go to the documentation to see. I don't know if it is actually documented. I want to say it's like a 1 minute interval of some kind, but they do some other caching things in play, and it's using some other replication techniques that make it more optimized. So it's not necessarily hitting your database all the time.
But is it going through the gateway?
No. Oh yeah. No, it's not going through a gateway. Yeah, the mirrored DBs. I don't know that we support gateway. No, not yet. So yeah, it's not going through the gateway. That's good. Good call out. So it should be direct to the source.
Yeah,
so
it's direct, but there's still a frequency.
There's still a polling
around
type option around it, but it's also using the replica capabilities of the data sources, and so there's other magic at play there, and optimizations from caching and whatnot. So the 1 minute thing is stuck in my head though, but that's not. Don't take that for. Don't quote me on that.
Maybe Mark Price is on the.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. So, yeah. So, all right. Guillermo. Yeah, no, Toma, it's not hitting a gateway. So there's no gateway set up as part of it. Not today, at least. If that's something you want to do for on-prem SQL, then ideas.fabric.microsoft.com. I know the team is very interested in scenarios there. So, okay. Guillermo, I've got a semantic model created from a lakehouse, not the default one. Sweet. Should I need to share the lakehouse to the users? All users have a free license. Ooh.
That's so there. I think there's a video coming out. No, Adam. Not 100% to this.
Not yet. It's not. Soon. I've got. Oh, not for the semantic model. So soon. I was told that someone has to go record it.
Okay. Yeah. I was talking to Patrick about this.
Yeah.
Last week. But so you do need to give access, but you don't have to share the whole lakehouse to everyone. I think that's the most important thing. If you try this, for example, I would say, so you can either share the lakehouse, but then they have access to everything. So that's not probably what you want. So the thing that you probably want is you either share the reports with someone directly, or you use apps, Power BI apps, to share the reports to people directly. Then when they will try to open the report, they will connect as their credentials using the app, and their credentials will connect to the semantic model. And then row level security will be applied as usual. Then they will query the files in the lakehouse, but they won't have access. You will get an error message. That's by design, because you don't have access to the lakehouse and you don't want to give them access to the lakehouse. So what you can do instead is you can swap the identity of who connects from the semantic model to the lakehouse. It's getting a bit technical, but
gives me
you can swap.
Yes,
you can swap the credentials like to a service account or something like this. So you can connect on someone else's behalf, and then you don't have this problem. You don't have to share it with anyone.
I'm gonna go to my desktop. I'm heading over to my desktop. So if we've got, so in this case, I've got a model here. So this is kind of like your scenario where it's not the default data set, but it's direct lake data set off of the lakehouse. And so if we go to settings, and then you go to gateway cloud connections, what Kasper's talking about is this right here. So you can set up create a connection and hard code a user that it's going to go through.
Then it's going to connect as those credentials to the lake.
It's basically a proxy account at that point.
Yeah, and RLS will still use
on the Power BI
side. That's the most
side.
important thing.
Well, and technically on the lakehouse side too. So,
yeah, this is a problem. Don't put any row level security on the lakehouse.
Yes, because you'll be in a world of hurt.
If you put row level security on the lakehouse, we will automatically fall back to direct query mode.
Yes.
Now there are ways around this too.
Yeah.
By the way, you can create shortcuts into a new lakehouse that doesn't have a SQL endpoint on top of it. But now we get into really complicated territory.
Yeah. So I always cringe a little bit when, like, even Patrick was so excited. He's like, no, I'm just going to create the cloud connection. I'm going to make the video. And I'm like, you got to caveat that thing, man, because people need to understand what they're doing when they actually create that. And, if you don't understand the security implication of that, that's dangerous. But it does work. And it helps today with, like, if you want to use the app against, leveraging Direct Lake, that's a way you can get it to work.
So hopefully soon, they have told me. So we have released a new feature at the beginning of the month where you can actually give access to files in the lake directly.
Yeah.
And this doesn't work in this scenario, which is unfortunate.
Correct.
What I would have loved is, okay, you just give access to files in like on the tables that you want, nothing else. But it doesn't work because the infrastructure doesn't work that way. But they have told me that they're going to work. They haven't given me a timeline, but they said they're going to work on like making sure that is going to work.
Yeah.
Too. Then you don't have to do all this stuff. You just give access to the files in the lake, and that's it.
Yes. Yeah. That would be ideal. So not directly that scenario, because I think Patrick and Kasper are going to get together and record that video. But I did drop a link to a video I did about controlling access to the lakehouse or warehouse. So in this case, this is like how you can leverage the share capability. And then also how you can actually apply RLS on the TDS endpoints for lakehouse or warehouse as well. So you can get a little more fine grain on that front. And so that applies to RLS, OLS, data masking, all of those things at the lakehouse and warehouse TDS endpoint. So, yep, lots of stuff there. There's layers. You have options. All right, Donald. Any chance of Excel Power Pivot? There you go, Alex. There's your Power Pivot question. Based pivot tables generating DAX instead of MDX. That's the dream, right? That's the dream.
Yeah. Is there any chance? I honestly don't know. Like, we've tried this for so many years.
I know. Like
the thing
that
how
long. Alex.
Yeah. Alex says there is a chance, but.
Well, so technically, they had that new table feature thing. It's not for the pivot tables, but The new table feature that was issuing DAX, it doesn't issue MDX. So I don't know.
But I mean, the main thing is like, I totally understand this is the problem with Excel, or the problem that they have. Like, you're gonna make any changes to the pivot table, and how many pivot tables are out there? Like, can you even imagine?
Oh yeah, there's
Like,
tons of them. Yeah.
the number of pivot tables. So you have to make sure that when you completely change the whole infrastructure of a pivot table, you're not gonna break any pivot table with the new update.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty scary.
That'd be horrible
to me too. To completely swap everything out and something.
And then there was a loud cry in the world of all the accountants shrieking.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new type of
Ideas.
pivot, maybe.
Well, I was gonna say ideas, not fabric, but that's not right. I don't know if Excel. I'm sure Excel has a user voice somewhere. The Chris, you said I'm hearing we should wait. Was that in reference to the DAX and Excel thing, or was it something else?
I think it was in reference to the
Yeah, I didn't know if it was the previous
lake house
conversation. Yeah.
RLS.
Yeah. Okay. Probably.
I don't think you should wait, by the way, on it. Like, it's not that much different. Like, you can just swap the user credential now and use the RLS in the semantic model.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Gaston's like, yeah, good luck messing with that. Oof. The pivot tables. Oof. Don't mess with the pivot tables. Yeah, Heidi, multidimensional is still out there. Yeah. Well, but didn't they make an update on multidimensional where you could send it DAX and it translates it to multidimensional, or am I remembering that wrong?
No.
I thought you could. I know you can send an MDX query to tabular and it will accept it, but I thought you could go the other way.
Yeah, you can send DAX to a multidimensional engine too.
That's what I just said. You just said
it
no.
doesn't translate. That's important.
Well, no.
Important
But I mean,
distinction.
like DAX would work against multidimensional. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah, so it'd still work against multidimensional. We don't need no stinking MDX. Don't get me going on that, Heidi. Whew. No
Where's
way I'm
Chris
learning
maybe?
that. I know. Alex said, I think we'll see a DAX pivot table one day, though. It makes sense. Oh, it absolutely makes sense. It needs prioritization and funding, though. Sure. I don't know. Anyone want to give $1 towards the fund? I don't know. If you break Excel, you break the world. Yes. Save the pivot table. Save the world. Okay. Thank you, Donald, for the power pivot question. I appreciate it. MDX shows our age. I don't know about you, Gaston. I'm a spring chicken. I'm good.
I always tell my kids I'm 28, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have said you don't look like a day over 27. All right. Darren, wait, another Power Pivot question. Any chance of Power Pivot in Excel getting a facelift to look more like Power BI Desktop? No. I mean, I'm not on the Excel team, but maybe Kasper has some influence on that. I don't know.
It used to be the way Power Pivot was owned by us.
Yes.
Power BI team.
Yes.
A long time ago, and
Yes.
we would actually ship it. But now it's not owned by us anymore. It's owned by Excel team, so I think they all have probably different priorities.
I mean, I would say I've had a lot of conversations where people have asked that can it look more like pivot tables in Excel inside of Power BI, not the other way. That's actually the first time I've heard someone saying, can you make it look more like Power BI inside of Excel?
But this is an interesting point too, because that was very much in the beginning of the Power BI days. So many discussions, but those discussions are way less today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are. Well, but even like the original Power BI was Power BI for Office 365, right? It was Excel was the authoring tool. It wasn't even Power BI Desktop. And then Power BI Designer came out and then renamed to Desktop, and here we are today.
Yeah, Thomas making a good point. Power
Oh,
Pivot is not the
yeah.
same as
Sorry.
pivot
I
tables.
just translate the two. Sorry. Yeah, so hang on. Hang on.
I actually know
Yeah,
Thomas
so you said
from,
power pivot.
the
You said power pivot, not
multidimensional
pivot
base.
table. Yeah. So yeah, and on the power pivot side, I mean, yeah, Excel team owns it now, so I don't know. So I doubt it's going to get a facelift. I doubt it. I doubt it. And Alex, I'm actually disagreeing with you. I don't think there's a chance on that one. Not for power pivot. Sorry. All right. I agree, Alex. So he said it'd go a long way towards upping skills. I agree, but I'm gonna say there's no chance that that's happening. I don't even think it is a chance. Like it ain't happening. I don't disagree with you though. Pro clarity. Oh my gosh. All right, Tom. I used Power A. I don't know what that is.
Power Automate.
Power Automate. Okay, good. See, this is why I have you here, Kasper. To create a refresh button. Excellent. It triggers the refresh from Power BI Desktop. Okay. And I can manually refresh the model in the workspace. But the button doesn't work in the published version. Suggestions. Also, why doesn't it work? Does it give you an error? Is there any tracing on the Power Automate side? Like, what's going on? Is it, yeah, it's got to be Power Automate. Yeah,
But
Tom said Power Automate.
I think maybe the difference is it works in the local model, but it doesn't work when you publish it to the service.
Yeah.
So probably you need to
there's-
reroute something because it's now a different model.
Yeah. So what's it referencing? So because you published it to the service, so there's a data set now or semantic model in the service. Is it pointing to that versus pointing to your local host?
It says it worked. He says, but it doesn't
actually trigger the
It probably
refresh.
does, but not the one you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I would go through just validating that. So the thing you could do also maybe as a test is create a new Power BI desktop and do a live connection to the data set that's in the service and get that Power Automate button working. And that would probably, my guess is that would work because it's pointing to the same data set at that point, as opposed to the difference between the local imported data set and the one in the service. So triggers. He said that's what it's already doing, is it's triggering the one in the cloud. That's interesting. I don't know.
I would say create it in the service, like someone else saying too. Thomas saying create it in the service. I have a feeling there's some disconnect, even though it's calling the other one.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that. I would have thought if it's because I want to say Patrick and I did this and it worked. So,
I mean, what I would personally do, but again, that goes. I would start up now we get into technical territory, but I would start up a trace file and actually
good with
see
technical.
what's happening.
We're good with technical, Kasper.
Yeah.
That's good. This is a safe space.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Set up a trace file and trace connection and see if the refresh actually gets triggered or not.
Yeah, the fact that it's saying it's successful, but like, is there any diagnostics on the Power Automate side? Because if it's saying on the Power Automate side, if it says, yeah, it worked, well, what's it actually doing? And some, Heidi was also saying like the off piece of it, like, is that all lined up correctly? I don't know if that changed at all, or you got to set something. It's interesting. I don't know. But yeah, diagnostics, man. Trace it, break it down. Yeah, David. Yeah, it's a different account. I'm guessing Tom's probably signed in on Power BI Desktop with the same user in the service, but it's always good to verify. Trust but verify. Excellent. All right. Oh, Jarrell coming in. Super chat at the last minute. Let's see here. Let's go. In app. So I'm thinking a published app in the service, so the actual app. Is it possible to block dashboard tiles from connecting to the source report? So view only dashboard needed for audience to see only report or dash in the app.
I think so. No,
I need more details. I need more details.
If you create an app, you can't change anything.
Well,
Like,
well,
I created an app and shared it with you.
Well, no. So what he's saying, but the thing is, from the app, I've added a dashboard into the app, so it's part of the app, right? But can I block the dashboard tiles from connecting to the source report? No, you can't change that. Like if it's so if you have in the dashboard though, you can. This is for everyone though. It's not specific to the app. You can update the URL for a given tile on the dashboard so that it actually does. So like if by default, if you click on the tile and it's from a report, it's going to go to the report. And I think that's what you're trying to stop. You just want to see it on the thing. So update the URL for the tile and see if that ends up doing it. That's the only thing I could think of that would stop that. So, or don't do this, but it could be go into the report, take a screenshot, and then add that as an image onto the. But you got to do that every time. I'm kidding. Oh, all right. So let me show you. Let's head back over to my desktop. Hang on. I got to go create a dashboard because I don't use dashboards. I'm just going to be honest. And if someone tells me they're using a dashboard, I'm assuming they're doing a report. All right, so let's pin. We'll create a new dashboard. The dashboard. All right. No, I don't want the mobile layout. So by default, if I have the dashboard, if I click on the tile, it goes into the report, right? So let's try this. Let's go here, and then we go edit details, and we do. Oh, you
custom
can't
link.
do that. Oh yeah. Set custom link. Yeah, there you go. Where's the link? Where's the link? Oh, you gotta scroll down. Oh, actually, let's do that. It doesn't let you. Okay, so I can't do a thing. So let's just do. That's not gonna work. That's gonna break it. Yeah. So I would see if you can play around with that though. Like you could actually set. Actually, let's do that. Oh, that's good. Hang on. Oh God, I didn't want to do that. Right. So we can set the link to itself. Bam. It opens up a new window though, so that's not ideal either. But that's how you can override what's there. So that's the only way I know of how to do it. Otherwise, it's gonna go in and do that. But
scroll down. You can
open custom link in the same tab. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I mean, it still refreshes the page. So that's not like totally ideal, but I mean, doesn't take them to the report, but has nothing to do with the app. And you can't affect that in the app. Click the don't. Oh, yeah, I did that. So, yeah, give that a whirl. See if that helps. Cool. All right. We did it. We're at the end. Feels good.
Time flies.
It does. Yes. All right, Kasper, any words of wisdom before we close out?
No, I think, go think back on the original conversations all the way in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like if you want to talk to your organizations about Fabric, no, it's not just security, but it's
adoption.
We are in a new world here. You know, we're SaaS. We're no longer PaaS, and it's tough and it's great, but both at the same time.
Yes, it is.
It's going to take some time to getting used to, and I think, but yeah, some great things are here. So
awesome. All right, Kasper, thanks for being here. Great to have you. And everyone, go check out his YouTube channel and podcast. It's good stuff all the time. I'm sure he'll have a new one soon. So stay tuned on that.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you.
Matthew Roach will be with us next weekend. So join us on May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all.
All right. See y'all. Bye.
I drew fast, but he drew first, had to make me bleed. The quench is thirst, oh, yeah. Now